guy, and it's like a
This is crazy, yeah. If a guy, like judo tossed a guy and landed on his head. Somebody did that recently in a hockey game. It was awful. Like Robin Black did a breakdown of it where some guy got a guy in a clinch and hit him with a hip toss and slammed his head onto the concrete. It was horrible.
It's weird. I mean, I could see why they want. I think they probably like hockey being more family friendly because the arenas are so nice. You bring the kids, and they don't want a bunch of maniacs beating the shit out of each other.
But they can still fight.
They can still fight, but
Here it is. Just watch this. This is crazy. Boom.
Oh, that's bad.
That's horrible. That's an asshole move because that's not even fighting. And plus that guy landed with both of their weights. Guy's on his head. He's out cold. I mean, that's like serious fucking brain damage.
I remember one particular incident at a Kings game where the guy was out and it went on forever, and the vibe was so heavy in the arena because we're like, is he dead? Because you know when someone hits and they just stop moving in that way,
stiffen up,
freaks you out. You pull up some Broad Street Bullies fighting from 1974.
Yeah, pull up some of that. Yeah, I've seen so
Dave
many.
Schultz. Oh, that's this thing. Yeah, this is the documentary. It's amazing.
Oh, look at the way they look back then.
Yeah,
everything. It's like back in the day. It's just such a weird thing to see people from that era. Oh, here they are.
Yeah, they don't. This is like early days before they became insane.
Oh, so it built up.
Because what happened was when they were starting as a team, they got really manhandled one time by a certain team. And they're like, this is never going to happen again. And they rebuilt the team with basically like thug type guys.
I'm always amazed that anybody could punch while they're on skates. I can't even skate. How the fuck do you maintain your?
I don't know.
These
guys are amazing athletes. One time I went down and got to skate at practice with the LA Kings with the guys who were injured. And man, that rink seems small when those big guys all get on the ice.
It
seems like, wow, there's no room up here.
But it's also they collide into each other against the wall, which the amount of shock on your body.
I know. It's amazing that. I mean, they just go and go and go. That's
maybe
Dave Schultz.
We can reignite some interest with this conversation because I think that would be. Look, he's pulling his fucking hair.
Yeah.
Holy
it wasn't. It was.
I'm gonna watch that.
It's amazing.
So, have you tried again recently, or
no, I tried.
You really think that it's just like they just don't want to be connected to this story?
Well, there's this guy Ed Snyder who was the guy who started the whole team, and that's where. And I met with. I thought he was the reason it wasn't going to happen, and then he passed away because he was pretty old. And then we started talking to the newer people, and it just, I don't know, like how many years of my life I got addicted, put into this, and you don't know. And someone said to me one time, "Well, you got further than anyone else ever did." I'm like, "How many times did they try to make this movie?"
She said the one with
warned
the
me
rock
about
is
that
better
5 years ago.
Not the one she.
Is there any other kind of movie that you're interested in?
Yeah, she said she used the one with the rock last time, and
well,
she
there
used
was
this one this time, and
this
one the way it's angled, it makes it stick in the thing. But that one, the way it's angled, it comes right out.
Which was about the last few years of Groucho Marx's life. This guy Steve Stolio wrote it, and he was a 19-year-old college kid who started this petition drive. Do you like the Marx Brothers?
Love them.
Yeah, and because Animal Crackers had been lost. That was the lost film. And at I think it was at UCLA. Sorry, Steve, I can't remember your college. He started this petition drive to get Animal Crackers released from the vault and released because it hadn't been seen since like the 40s or something. And he did. This was in the early 70s. And through that,
why is he walking around with that container?
Groucho's assistant. But Groucho's final years are really dark.
Huh?
Because he had strokes and he was ill, and he had this woman, Erin Fleming, who was supposed to be they kind of played it like it was his girlfriend, but she was the caretaker. And it turns into Sunset Boulevard inside his house, and Steve eventually is put in charge of Groucho because it's a really dark
Turns into
story.
Sunset Boulevard house,
because Groucho was being abused and drugged by this woman. She isolated from his family, and it's like happening in his Beverly Hills home, and it's just dark. It was dark towards the end for Groucho.
Really?
Groucho.
But the book was fascinating because the guy,
I guess,
Saskatchewan, and like they get their teeth out and they get crazy in the bar, and they're like. And I went down and got to skate at practice with the LA Kings with the guys who were injured, seen since like the 40s or something. And he did. This was in the early 70s. And through that, he became Groucho's assistant. But Groucho's final years are really dark because he kept having strokes and he was ill, and he had this woman, Erin Fleming, who was supposed to be they kind of played it like it was his girlfriend, but she was the caretaker, and it turns into Sunset Boulevard inside his house, and Steve eventually is put in charge of Groucho because it's a really dark
Turns into
story.
Sunset Boulevard also.
Because Groucho was being abused and drugged by this woman. She isolated from his family, and it's like happening in his Beverly Hills home, and it's just dark. It was dark towards the end for Groucho. But the book was fascinating because the guy who wrote it, Steve, who's still alive, and we're friends.
Think things through.
I was just like, it was one of those books you read in like 5 seconds, and I just happened to find it by accident. I was like, this is an amazing movie, but again, years and years go on trying to get it made and just can't get it going.
Groucho was such a controversial character. He had one of the greatest lines ever on You Bet Your Life. He's talking to this guy, and he's asked the guy, like, you married? Yes.
Really?
How many kids you got?
The cigar line.
Yeah. The guy says, you got any kids? And he goes, geez. He goes, well, I love my wife. He goes, I love my cigar too, but I take it out of my mouth every now and then.
Yeah.
We can't hear you.
Hugely controversial line.
Yeah, his was amazing, and he was like, and he was very
eyebrows.
Yeah, there it is. He was very outspoken.
Like
he was like
oyster.
on Nixon's shit list and stuff. And
Drag it open.
Years inside Groucho's house.
Yeah,
wow.
It's really fast. If you get that book, you'll read it in like 2 seconds.
It's always sad when some iconic old figure is being taken care of as he's older, and he's getting fucked over, and someone's waiting for him to die so they can get the money.
Yeah, and she kept kind of doing this thing like, we're gonna make your comeback, Groucho, and we're gonna do a TV special. It's gonna be like you and Frank Sinatra. And Groucho's like on his like 3rd stroke, and
that hose is already there, wasn't it?
Talk or
I don't know. I guess.
And a couple of the final appearances of him are pretty rough because he was pretty sharp and
she's
good.
taking off.
Even when he was older, we could watch him on Dick Cavett or something. But then it got bad.
And then, how did this lady get into his life?
How did that go down? I'm trying to remember. She was a secretary at first, just kind of weaseled her way in. I can't remember exactly. I should remember.
There's so many stories like that. I think there was a Stan Lee story like that in his last few days.
That happens a lot. Oh, and her boyfriend, she's like this in a wheelchair. This is
Sad shit. Kids are so someone else is taking care of them.
They're so old, their kids have all died of old age.
So what happened?
Yeah.
What happened with that?
It just couldn't get it going. We thought every time it seemed like we were on the road, it just would stall. And I had to phone the outdoors. 5 years. This is
God, the drain of time.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like for every movie I've ever gotten made, there's probably 5 others that I tried to get made that couldn't get made. So it's a real time suck.
Yeah, that's a fucking huge drag. Yeah. Now, when you do get a film made, is it generally that you come to the studio and you have this idea and you bring it to them?
All right.
Yeah.